indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. There's a lot of voices in the room.
Yeah.
I like it. We can't until we do the agenda because we can't change the agenda. Okay, well, let's get up there. Minutes, previous meeting.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Do we have any additions or corrections? Oh, that'll be on the agenda portion. We'll add that on down here. I'll grab it. No, that's fine. Seeing no changes, all in favor of the motion, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carries and the minutes are approved. Bills, anything out of the ordinary? Okay,
Second.
we have a motion and a second to approve the bills, excuse me. Any questions, discussion? Or is a additional list on the desks as well? Okay. Everyone just have to go through them in case they see them. Great, hearing no questions, roll call please.
Brown.
Aye.
Frith.
Aye.
Deesa. Aye. Volk.
Aye.
Lightfoot.
Aye, motion carries. Financial reports. Anything crazy, Candy?
No. Just up to the usual transfers, yes. Want that for next meeting.
Move to approve as submitted.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the financial reports as submitted. Further discussion on that motion? Seeing and hearing none, all in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Treasurer's checks.
Move to approve. Second.
A motion and a second to approve the treasurer's checks. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Approval of the agenda. We have one thing to add and we'll put it under new business. Just a quick discussion on VSO travel expense. If that's okay with everyone. And so I would take a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the agenda as amended. All in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right, very good, thank you. All right. We have a lot of extension people here because it's a special week. Let's take it away.
It is, like Adam said, it's 4-H week, and we just want to thank the Ramsey County Commission for always being so supportive of extension, which that's us to our job with our 4-Hers, and we have 4 of our premier 4-Hers here today to just give you a little update on what they've been doing last year. We have Caitlin, Sawyer, Braden, and Egan. So Caitlin, do you want to start us off?
My name is Caitlin Erickson. I'm from the Birdbusters County 4-H Club, and I'm here today to talk to you about communication arts regarding 4-H. I participated in my first communication arts competition last year with Sawyer Wilhelmy, and we went to state. And going there, I was able to see a lot of different ages really participate in anything from like a humorous duo or like a very analytical information kind of presentation. And I just saw a lot of, especially younger kids who, even if they weren't at their full potential just yet, I could see that potential and how they were able to express that through communication arts in 4-H. And it really just gave them a gateway to get into communication arts, which will really teach them those lifelong skills that they would learn to help them in like school or a job or any kind of social event. So yeah, thank you.
I'm Sawyer. I'm also from the Birdbusters 4-H Club. So like she said, we did communication arts together, and that gave me the opportunity to go to the Extension Youth Conference on the NDSU campus. So for a few days, we got to stay in the dorms, and I got to learn about things like how drones are used in agriculture, and we got to fly some drones and see how they all operate. And got to learn a bunch of things about new leadership skills and how to be a leader and how to cooperate with the team. I got to meet a lot of new people, make a lot of new friends, and it was just really fun and a great experience to learn new things and meet a lot of new people.
Edith?
Hi, I'm Eden Lady with the Royal Radis 4-H Club, and at the beginning of June, we had the opportunity to go on a Ramsey County 4-H leadership excursion. There were 20 4-H members from Ramsey County and one from Benson County that traveled together. This was 3 days of leadership, opportunities, tours, and fun. Thank you.
I'm Brandon Berry. I'm from the Bird Busters 4-H Club. And places we went to were the National Fisheries in Riverdale, the Lewis and Clark Interpretation Center in Washburn, the Bismarck Foosball, Lewis and Clark Riverboat, the Leadership Awareness Wednesday, which is a statewide 4-H program on county government, State Capitol, the State Heritage Center, Midwest Manufacturing in McKinsey, which is a Menards distribution and manufacturing center.
And then, Sarah's gonna talk about if they can just treat you all to some donuts and.
Yes, we'll have the kids come up, they've got a little treat for you guys. And then while they're doing that, Candy, I'm not sure if you have that letter that we gave you about the legislative update. But we, Extension has legislative updates in all of the legislative districts. Ours is on District 15, and we have invited our legislators, the candidates, and then also we would appreciate if we could get 1 or 2 of our county commissioners to attend our legislative update. It is it's virtually held, so it'll be via Zoom. And the date, Lindsay?
Is October 25th. That's a Tuesday at noon. So again, that's via Zoom, so yeah, let us know if you're coming and
Yeah, if you just want to
Send
let
in
us
the
know who would like to attend. And you can, we'd love to have your participation and your feedback to definitely help us with our programming efforts and things like that.
We say we'll attend, will you shoot us an email ahead of time to remind us so we don't forget?
Absolutely.
Do that, I'll be there.
Yeah, absolutely. All right.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. You know what meeting we come to? Thank you.
There's plenty, yeah.
The more you guys pass it up, I get too.
You know what we're doing.
Right. I don't need time, probably.
No, I'm too old this year.
You're right.
Too old this year.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Hey,
Look at that.
Could we take 1 more minute of your time and get a picture with the kids?
You go right
Is that
ahead.
okay?
I think
All
that's
right,
just fine.
raisers.
Come on in, take a picture. Our main thing is to
You
make
guys
sure
want
you
to
guys
stand
get
back-
done so you can
stand
get
back
to
there?
school. Yeah, you can see.
Wide angle.
Hey, this is before the donut. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Perfect. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you guys for coming in.
Thank
Thank you.
Okay, I will make mention before I forget, when we're talking about extension here, is that at the Association of Counties Conference, they made mention that I think it would be good if as many of us could listen to the legislative update and get prepared, because it sounds like we're gonna be looking at the possibility of a funding change. So, possible. So, something to think about, in the back of our head. Okay, from there, Kevin, morning.
Morning. Not much new on our paper patches. It's still gonna be about around the end of October, they're predicting. As long as the weather holds. Any questions about that? So the South of Railroad crossing, I don't know if anybody's been by there, but it's pretty good. Yeah,
That's really
pretty good. Last time I was by there, they had the bags over the lights, but won't be long, and it'll be up and running.
It's running.
Yes, that'd be great, thank you.
Kevin, what happens with on the paper patches if the weather doesn't hold?
Guess you have to wait till next year or spring, maybe we can get them here in the spring, it's, you know, they won't show up until the weight limits are off, of course.
Sure.
That would be our only other. Today, we're gonna, that one on 3 that's so rough, we're gonna put some gravel in that, but the rest of them. I know that one by Doyle is bad, I know it's bad, but don't know how to handle it.
They just give it installed or not installed after?
Yeah, well, they're busy, I mean, their schedules, you know, and of course, they're getting, penalties for being late on their projects where they're at now, so.
Have they got more projects in this area?
I don't know, that's a good question, but they are like in Grand Forks or
Yeah.
the paper patch. I don't honestly know, this plant it's missing one piece, which is easy to move back and forth, so otherwise it's operational except for that one piece.
Is there any way going forward in the future that we can contract with them with like an end date so we can kind of hold them to it so we don't get stuck in the back of the line every time?
I can check, but that's gonna be tough, you know, but normally they fit us in between jobs, you know, it works good for them to finish a job and then take us and then start the next one. Didn't work out from this year.
I know Nice River's over there on 281 and they haven't paved anything over there yet. Have we done much business with them over the past?
Well, they have had some of our projects, but their product all comes from
Right.
Grand Forks too. Or wherever they're set up in a pit, you know.
They're set up over there at Cheyenne.
Cheyenne.
They have it from Cheyenne and Rockbridge.
Yeah, they have a lot of it, they have a lot of it paved now.
Do they? I
On
didn't
the way
Cheyenne.
back, I came back from Bismarck.
They're coming from the south. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't
They
see it.
were probably a mile out of Cheyenne, but they had put down a lot of product in a couple of days.
I know they have one other small project to do. I know that. They were gonna do it. I don't know how many other.
I see Tri-State is in town, was working for the city, so we'll talk to them too.
Yeah.
Don't know what their schedule's like at all.
I would hurt to reach out to them just to see if we can find somebody that'd be willing to do it.
You know, you should
In
try
case,
that.
in case Stratton can't get on
Jason could probably do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we should try that too.
Worth a try, anyway.
All right. The North Dakota DOT has given us another invoice for our share of the bridge inspection we got done this year. And that invoice was for $4,102.66. We need a motion to pay that.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to pay the DOT $4,102.66 for bridge inspections. Further discussion? Seeing none, roll call please.
Deesa, aye. Brown,
Aye.
Volk,
Aye.
Brett,
Aye.
Lightfoot.
Aye, motion carries.
And along with that is a letter that stating, I guess it's a letter, stating where we got our match money from, that needs a signature from the chairman and the auditors, so the motion have them sign that.
So moved.
Okay, motion and a second to sign the certification of local match. Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carries.
And the new pickup we got, we're putting a Tommy lift trailer or tailgate on that, so we got the invoice for the works truck for that.
That's only one, right?
One lift and
Because it
one.
says they cost. I'm just making sure that it's only,
Oh,
but it is only one.
well, the trailer hitches include the, what do you call them? Receiver hitches
Oh, that's
in
part of
that
it.
bill also.
Okay,
That's why, I mean, the two of them together cost that.
okay, tracking.
So that was $3,742.
Move to approve. Second.
Okay, got a motion and a second to pay Bert's truck for the Tommy lift and then pickup and the trailer hitch for the discussion. Seeing none, roll call please.
Brett,
Aye.
Brown,
Aye.
Decent. Aye.
Well,
Aye.
Lightfoot.
Aye, motion carries.
And the invoice for the cutting edges Butler, that was $5,785.57.
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, motion and a second to pay Butler for cutting edges. Further discussion. Seeing none, roll call please.
Brown,
Aye.
Wolf,
Aye.
Brett,
Aye.
Decent. Aye. Lightfoot.
Aye, motion carries.
KLJ is gave us an invoice for the engineering on paving on 3. That cost was $22,251.01. And that still stays within the total of their contract, so need a motion to pay that.
Motion to move.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion and a second to pay KLJ. Is this the end of the engineering contract costs or more?
Probably a little bit more of this, that had all the subcontract material testing in there.
Okay.
Like probably less than 10,000 or something like that.
Okay, very good. Further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, roll call please.
Decent. Aye. Brett,
Aye.
Wolf,
Aye.
Brown.
Aye.
Lightfoot.
Motion carries.
And need to order a load of culverts to replace the inventory that we sold this summer. Getting last year, or this year's quotes for prices. One thing about that, I should let you know, I talked to them and the order won't be here until the end of November, which was fine with my inventory, but that's how far out they are in building culverts for 2 months. So anyway, that load of culverts will cost $61,842 approximately. So I need a motion. Go ahead and order that.
Motion to move.
Second.
Okay, got a motion and a second to order culverts to replenish stock. Further discussion. Okay, hearing none, we're just ordering, we're paying?
Yep, we're not paying.
Okay. Okay, all in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carries.
One more I have to add is that we got the invoice from Gowan Construction for the graveling on Ramsey County 10. And that total was $52,153.20. I need a motion to pay that bill.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion and a second to pay Gowan for the graveling on Ramsey County 10 project. Further discussion. Hearing none, roll call please.
Wolf,
Aye.
Decent. Aye. Brett,
Aye.
Brown,
Aye.
Lightfoot.
Motion carries.
Okay, that's all I have unless you have something for me, I'm gonna take off, so.
Questions for Kevin before you?
Do you have that sheet for us to sign?
Yeah, that's talking, Brent, I had it and I have it all filled out, but.
It isn't in there, is it? With the list of bills? It
Yeah.
didn't come in there.
I would hope.
You brought that up yesterday, so
Oh. There you go.
I don't know.
Oh, but it is in there.
don't look.
Oh, yeah.
I can always stop over. Brent has it too. I don't really.
We'll make sure that we get it. We generally send it with payment, so we'll make sure that it's sent with payment. Yeah, probably,
No? Okay, well, we'll figure it out. Okay, any questions for Kevin? Hearing none,
Looks like it.
Does it look like it?
Yeah,
was that it?
it was the second page.
Yep, the second.
Alyssa?
Right there. Top page.
Ah.
At the back? I don't,
Send it up here, I'll sign it right now, so we don't forget.
yeah,
Otherwise we'll forget that we'll try.
sorry.
Yeah, right here, then I guess.
All right.
Okay, thanks Kevin, appreciate it. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Okay, Ramsey County Fair Board, update on the fair building.
We actually had a Zoom on Thursday.
Oh, okay.
The executive director from St. Connect Dakota was going to come in today.
She's on.
She is.
Can you hear us, Megan? She's there.
Okay, I'll start with some of the things that we've been working on, for the building. Last week we met with Dennis Gleason and made some changes to door placements and storage areas and what we should expect in the process of getting started with this building. And, he let us know that because we're in the 2-mile radius for the city, that we will have a structural engineer that will be working on building. And, they have some ties that go across in the dirt to hold the building together. And they have to design that for the size of the building and, approve that. We should have a drawing for bid letting, in the near future. And when we get that drawing, we'll be checking with the auditor on the process for bid letting of the building. We've developed a donation letter, and levels of giving for people to, if they want to support the building. And the first phase of letters is ready to go out probably tomorrow. And that's about 280 letters that we'll be sending. And then in another week, we'll have another bunch of letters that go out. We're working on doing a fundraiser steak fry on October 22nd, so we'd like to invite everybody here to come to that. We're shooting for 300 people for the steak fry, and we're gonna have other activities going on out at the arena that will have kids games. We're gonna have a cash bar, a bounce house, and a jackpot barrel race. And the other thing that has happened this last week is Ramsey Riders 4-H Club is going to do a silent auction and a bake sale at the state fry. And the Ramsey Riders 4-H Club has pledged to raise funds in the amount of $7,000 in support of the project. And the other thing that we have is Extension has given us some dimensions on the size of space they would need if it would be decided that they would move their offices out to the Peterson Arena. And their space that they would need is approximately 2,200 square feet for their offices, storage, and a conference room. Any questions for me?
Your grammar fund, where are they at? Where are you at with that?
We're waiting on the designation letter from IRS, so one of the deadlines was today to file for the grammar grant. So we didn't make that because we don't have the designation letter. But, we're confident that we'll have it in November, so we'll be able to file the grammar grant in December.
Have you had any contact with the grammar people?
Megan has been handling that, so I'm not sure.
Is she on? Is she there?
Megan, are you on? Can you hear us?
Yep, I'm here. When it comes to the Attleboro Trust grant, the next deadline is December 1st. Elvina and the team are working on the information that we need to submit specifically for a capital request. So with the deadline of December 1st, there's a 6 to 8 week turnaround time. So we'll know in January, maybe early February, regarding the status of that request. So they've accelerated the process quite a bit through their kind of philosophy change over the last year. So we won't have to wait, 6 months like we would in the past. It's going to be that 6 to 8 week time frame.
So you're looking at 1st of February or something, or what?
I believe that results, if you apply in December, should be known between the 1st of February, maybe the middle of February, depending upon the alignment of trustee board meetings with that grant round.
Is there any more deadlines we have to meet with applications or?
The other grant that we're looking at applying for is the community facilities, the community facilities fund from USDA Rural Development. Once we have all the information that we need for the Attleboro Trust grant, all of that's directly applicable to the community facilities fund grant, with the exception of needing to document more around the socioeconomic status of Ramsey County and surrounding areas. So we feel that as soon as we get that 501c3 letter, which as Elvina stated should be in November, we'll be able to utilize that to turn around an application to USDA Rural Development.
Further questions? I guess for the update. Sounds like they're moving along.
And State Friday is the 22nd of October.
Everyone go in and stay.
No. Or burgers. Or burgers. Silent auction and bake sale. There's a big barrel event that day as well, isn't there?
Yes.
So, whole day.
The barrel race will start at 1 o'clock. We'll have kids games throughout the day from 1 to probably 5. Once it gets dark, we'll shut the kids games down. And then the state pride goes from 5 until 9.
Oh, why don't we put that on the radio? Radio.
Yeah.
Hope they will have cooperative weather.
Well, we can only hope we live in North Dakota.
Yeah.
Might be running barrels through 12 inches this morning.
We can do that too.
Just to add to the fun.
Well, it was a way to get more people to come to the event.
That's a good deal.
Great idea.
Okay, any further questions or discussion? Thanks for coming in and the update. We appreciate it.
Megan, did you have anything more for us?
No, I don't have anything. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Megan. We appreciate you coming in on this. Okay, we'll let people kind of shuffle around here. All right. Where's Deb? She's over there. You're hiding. Yeah, an indexing proposal. And that should be in our packets.
Yes. Part of this is getting, or most of this is getting all the rest of our documents indexed into the system. Right now, we still have to come back to the books. So if we have people coming in, They actually, either we have to do it for them and we only allow so much time to take away from our regular work to do it. Last week, we just had 3 people in our office for 3 days searching through documents, trying to find information. So we do have the audit abstract office come in, we do have lawyers come in. We do have people calling, which takes away from time for us, and that means we pull the books out and look at the information. The proposal would be for over a 3-year period. We have over 145,000 documents yet indexed. I did get a third bid, or third quote. They are higher than the other 2. It's from a new company, Condor Indexing Services. They are $1.50 per typed document, $3 per handwritten document. So over a 3-year period, to get all of the documents indexed, over $200,000. I know there's ARPA funds available. Our current contract right now at the end of September, there has been 33,564 documents indexed this year. According to our previous contract, I did max out the most documents that we'll be doing this year is 37,000, just due to funding with the NREN money that was available. As of the end of September, we have paid out $11,747.40 on the NREN fund, paid for that documentation this year. Do you have any questions or?
And you and I had talked about when this stuff comes back to them, they actually go over to make sure that.
We have to validate anything that is indexed. So the validation, right now, we're validating documents from, I'm on 1987 and Annette is on 2006. We work towards each other. So to get back into validating these, it's going to take us years to validate these documents. They aren't actually complete until we validate them.
Make sure the index matches the actual document and validates back home.
Like Bev and I talked, just in case they would have to add something, correct?
Change something or correct something.
The question I have in looking at it is how much do we build in the NRED account every year? Or have we been building?
The county actually doesn't put money in there.
No, I know, but how much have we been deriving from all of the documentation fees and everything?
It varies. The last 2 years, it depends on how many documents actually are done within the system, and then we get a kickback from the NRED system. It's been around $8,000, one payment, but part of that payment goes to the county. We only get, the recorder's office only gets a percentage of it, the county gets the rest. On a monthly basis, it's around $300, maybe depending on how many documents we get.
How much do we spent is the account going to be empty by the end of the year, or do we have?
No, I didn't want to empty it because if something comes up, we do have a bill that has to be paid in January for our Tyler technology software. So that is around $7,000. Right now, we're sitting at around $13,000 in the account. This month again, there'll probably be, when indexing gets done, that'll probably be around $1,100. That'll go out again, so we're sitting around $1,250.
Well, Bev, you feel it's moving along pretty well.
It is. It's been working very well. It seems like there is around 4,000 documents a month getting done, where there is no way that we would ever get that many. We're lucky. When we validate, on average, if we're not that busy, we might be able to validate 500 a week. That'd only be validating a couple thousand a month. They're able to index twice the amount that we can validate with our other time, consumed by other things.
And the contract that we have now ends when?
The contract that goes to the end of December, but there was a stipulation put in there that no more than 37,000 documents just due to a financial. So that'll amount will be, done about the end of October. So we're sitting at $33,500 now.
So if we want to proceed with this, we have to make some kind of decision. Otherwise,
Yeah, and they'd have to come off budget basically.
The advantage is if something happens to those books, you have nothing to go back on. And there's books in the basement of the memorial building also.
Once these documents are indexed, what type of redundancy are you taking for the storage of them? And so is it in the cloud? Is it in multiple thumb drives? Is it?
It is actually backed up onto the server, and also then once they're indexed, they are put into Engrin, and Engrin backs everything.
Sure.
The only thing we would lose in a disaster would be the actual paper copies.
Because the Android system is statewide, and it's, they have servers someplace that holds everything. So
In Fargo, it
it's
is,
cloud up.
there's 50 counties that use Engrin.
So all of these books have been, if I'm understanding correctly, all of them have been scanned, now we're indexing them and validating. So we'd still have the documents, because we've scanned them all already, that was part of the previous projects. So we'd at least still have those documents scanned, but we wouldn't have anything indexed if we lost them all. And then if something happened and we lost the scanned documents or something, then we would have a problem.
And we would have nothing to go back to reference it if the scan is bad, which we have run into, or there's been something that was misscanned. We've had to go back into the books, pull it out, and actually try to scan it ourselves.
Well, inevitably, we have 150,000 documents, 1 or 2 here or there, it's going to have a poor scan on it. If it did the process and did it well when we scanned it, you're gonna have a huge mess.
So do other counties do this?
They
Go
are in
all
the
the way
process,
back?
yes, they're in the process of trying to work on it. That is pretty much everyone's goal, is to get everything into the system. It's much easier to find the documents that are linked to all these legal descriptions.
Most every other county is working on it.
Yeah, most of them are, not quite as extensively as we are. Some of them can't afford to do like indexing, remote indexing and stuff like that. So they're trying to, but that's their goal, to get everything into the system. Same with when Steve and I were down at the Historical Society on Monday and Tuesday, scanning in old plaques, because we don't have any backup for that.
In your estimation, if we kept going at the pace we went this year, how long do you think it's gonna take us?
If we could keep around 4,000 documents a month, it would probably be close to 3 years.
And it's just the two of you over there that are kind of working on it.
Yes.
Deb,
I think it's, go ahead.
remind me, did we budget in your budget for indexing?
I did ask for 25,000 extra before Blaine spoke to me about trying to get the whole project done.
Sure.
So that is in the budget though.
I believe so, I've seen it in.
25,000.
For this year coming.
Yep, it would have been just for 1
I
year.
think we should stay that course. I think they're doing very well.
Then we'll see where she's at, the $25,000 there. Nothing else to look at. You think that's a good pace? You think that's a good pace to keep her up?
I think she's been doing very well. If we stay with her, the cost is gonna go up though, because we signed the contract fairly cheap last year. So
Basically,
No.
the first 35,000 documents was a deal.
it was a very good deal. So now the cost, she would stay
But
with her.
But at 25,000, if she's at 30,000 documents, if you set aside $25,000, that would get us another $25,000 or 25,000 documents.
Yes, as long as they're typed.
Right. If they're
When you
typed.
get into the handwritten, it's
Well,
much more expensive.
Sounds like if we could find a way to maybe do $25,000 more next year, then you'd be able to at least get through all the typed documents and then get to the handwritten and then kind of start working your way through those off of what we can afford to budget every year.
Yeah, the handwritten take a lot more time.
Well, and that's reasonable, you gotta go through everything and try to discern what everything says. When did the handwritten start? What year?
We've got
Yeah, from 80 until 1882.
1882,
Like you had said before, it all depends on how big the document is. Like some documents, she flies through and then the next document, not so much. You know,
yeah, the spreadsheet here. There are still 62,290 type documents. And there's 93,241 handwritten ones.
Yeah, but she'll have, by the end of this month, if you minus 4,000 or say, we'll be down to that 53,000 what you estimated at $1.
Is this the current one?
We have 25 in your budget for 23, right?
Yeah.
25,000
The
in there,
budget's approved,
just to
yes,
stay the
that's
course. Just to stay the course and keep working on it like this, I think that's the way to go.
So essentially, we're saying we're approving signing another 1-year contract to that $25,000, and then if we want to get some more done next year, we could maybe find a way to find money at that point.
Address it then.
I mean, if the process speeds up, then.
What percentage of counties in North Dakota are working on it?
I would
Would you guess?
I would guess probably 80, 85.
Really, are working on it? Okay.
Yeah, I suppose, like you said, it depends on county size, and some of them are just trying to index themselves, or index themselves as they can take time to do it.
Yeah, they don't have the funding to try to get it
Yeah, well, they just,
remotely done.
yeah, because we at least have Enron that pulls enough money, we can build something in the fund, where some places they probably don't pull documents near as quickly, so they can't build funds.
The less documents they do, lower their end.
Your best guess, we're doing about the same speed as everybody else?
We're probably a little bit faster
Okay.
than being remote index.
We're doing good then, huh?
I think so.
Yeah.
It's worked out very well.
Stay the course, I'm sure the people want this. Kept track of and being able to access it how many years from now.
One of the other things is the advantage with Endrin is, you can access it from anywhere.
Right.
Endrin, right now, we're working on trying to do a 24-hour pass. So the typical person on the street can get a pass for the day, go in, find their information. Right now, you would have to buy a 30-day pass. And then it automatically removes.
That's a good idea.
Hopefully that works.
So just carry on.
Okay, thanks, Ben.
Need a motion or?
No, because like, we've got the budget for it next year, I think basically whenever you come up with a contract
In the budget.
with that low bid, then we'll have to sign a contract, we can approve the contract at that point in time, I would say.
I can get a contract worked out.
Would it be reasonable to make a motion today to accept the low bid? And then put a contract together with it, or?
Yeah, I don't have a problem.
I'll make that motion that we accept the low bid and move on with what's in the budget.
So low bid with the proposal up to $25,000 next year, and then re-approach it once we get to that dollar figure.
You think we'll have more than one bid?
I got 3 bids.
We got 3.
Yeah, so going with the low bid and then up to $25,000 for next year, and we'll re-approach it when that 25,000 gets checked. Okay, we have a second? Do you have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to accept that proposal and to get a contract looked up with the low bidder. Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Hold the same sign. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thanks, Beth, appreciate it. Okay, excuse me. Unfinished business. Recommendation from the ARPA committee from last meeting. Had some time to think about it. Today is finalization of budget. What would we like to do? Anything, nothing, something?
I'm gonna let you know, I did take the ARPA money and I invested it till the end of the year. Cause I thought, and I talked to Candy, and there wouldn't be any probably money going out until the first of the year. So, and we did get 2.51 for an interest rate, but that was good. So, just so you guys know what I've done.
Yeah, that's what we had talked about last night.
I think that's
Yeah.
reasonable.
Yeah.
Yeah,
A
we
little bit more
don't-
interest on it.
Yeah, that's fairly decent interest right now.
That was, yeah.
Yeah, and I don't think we have to be any massive hurry to turn it around, it's just a matter of, if we're gonna commit it to them, so people know if they have to get bids and things like that, or whatever. But if not, we can keep it on the agenda, and talk about it next meeting.
I think we should do that, just keep it on there, if there's anything else.
Okay.
I do have a question on
Go ahead.
this siren for the radios, and then we have the, siren costs again.
Yeah, I was just saying that the 250 that I kind of penciled in on the other portion of it was, let's take care of rural fire and things like that, if they can't get it under theirs, plus emergency, like ambulance services and things like that. Oh, okay. And then I just put under the others, so there's outside siren costs and county siren costs, and if that 250 covers everybody and there's money left over, you'll just roll it back and use it.
I just wanted to make sure that you weren't doubling.
No, I wasn't doubling. Yeah, I was just thinking of kind of like two different streams, but we can use that 250 for county siren costs too.
That makes sense. I was just making sure, because when you're writing, so sometimes that can happen.
So that was kind of my thought process. The other thing is on the siren is, we saw initially, we had a sheet at one point in time, I remember, with however many radios there are out in the county, I had the sheet in front of me at one point. I was thinking about that last night because, like the sheriff has, you've got money budgeted next year for radios, and the emergency manager has money budgeted for radios, so it's gonna be kind of a mix and match of offsets inside budget versus what it's gonna cost, and in all honesty, some of that comes down to, we talked about it, you can't even get them. So, yeah, you can budget as much as you wanna budget, but if you can't get the radio, it doesn't matter, because there's nothing to pay for. So, and it was actually quite, it's an ARPA discussion thing to a point, but.
But I think it was somewhere around $800,000 for radios.
Yeah.
What wasn't it, Chris? 800,000 for radios if we.
That included every entity within the county.
Right.
Yeah.
So looking at what you had on there, Adam, if we're planning on doing something, that's probably one of the first ones, so that they can start getting bid. Would you agree to that?
Well, I would think, assuming they can even find the radios, and like we've talked, some of the radios are gonna be more expensive, some of them are gonna be less expensive, dependent upon the service and what they need. What ambulance ones, I'm guessing, what are you guys looking at cost wise?
For the handhelds or for the portables on the range?
Well, whatever you're looking to get.
We can get anywhere from 1,500 to 2,500, because ours are not as complex.
Yeah, see, so.
And most of our rigs cost about $6,000. That could do all.
So do you guys qualify for the state
On that.
kickback?
Yes.
Okay, well, so that's not so plenty, but
There's something there.
well, and that was my thought process, was once the entities that we know that don't have as good of funding streams, we're gonna have to have some type of a deal where they get the 1,500 from the state, and then the county kicks in the difference or whatever to get to that radio price, or, maybe we say, we'll pay 2,500 a radio, and you guys figure out how to come up with the difference or whatever. We'll figure out the commission's gonna have to figure out a way, because we're gonna have to help them, otherwise. And talking with Chris too, siren's not gonna get done tomorrow. There's gonna be a process of a few different years here to get through this, so, it's gonna take a while.
Thanks.
And who put the siren radios for the 250 in? Who put the request in?
Nobody, I just said we needed to hold money back for it.
Oh.
I felt as though we shouldn't send more money out in the countryside, we should hold that back, because we're gonna need it.
What was the meeting you had after the last law enforcement center? You met with the
They
city?
computer-aided dispatch. Did they talk about that at the city? Did they?
Chief Kanowski's the one kind of head storm on that, and I haven't heard back from him where they were, what came out of it since our meeting.
So what they were looking at is to kick that project off for the council, the hardware that was needed was, I think, $180,000. I think it was $95,000 between the county and the city if we wanted to split it up between utilizing our ARPA funds for that. And get that going, get that purchased, and that would get the Central Square company that's doing it another 8-9 months to input all the data that's needed for that system into the system before it's up and operational. But I thought it was, let's go, we're in a hurry,
I think it still
hurry.
is.
Yeah,
The conversation I had with Dale Robbins, it sounds like it's gonna be a goal with the city for the whole thing,
for the whole thing.
that's what he told me,
Okay, well,
because they're the big user.
yeah,
Is that correct, Steve?
Between them and us, we're the two main users, and they're well more than half. They're a big percentage of it.
I kinda left him with the thought.
I would probably say 65% probably, just a guess, but they'd be close to that just for their.
Mhm.
and then it was an annual cost for it of 131,000.
130 something.
Yeah,
The 180 was just the hardware. And the
Yeah.
130 is the initiating the rest of it with the individual units and the maintenance, whatever you want to call
I think, Mr. Kanowski, went in front of the city council, and I think the city was willing to get the ball rolling. I could be wrong on this, but I think they were buying in, and, at least, like Jeff was stating, just getting the ball rolling to get this stuff going, because it's gonna be a long build out, just like the radios, it's a long build.
But we never heard anything from Chief Kanowski.
it. Not as of yet.
So, and I don't, and Ed, did you talk to Commissioner Robbins
yes, I thought I got phone with him and,
after their Monday meeting?
yes.
Oh,
No, not since Monday, not
Okay.
yesterday, no, last week, excuse me.
so I wonder if they made a decision, discussed it at their Monday city commission meeting.
I don't know what happened there.
Because Chief Kanowski was initially gonna talk to Candy, get on the agenda for today, and we had split the costs and utilizing our ARPA funds, and hadn't heard anything following the meeting that we had at the LEC. So,
I can touch base with Chief Kanowski today and see if we can get him on for the next meeting. Will that work?
no,
What else we can do with this?
yeah,
Steve, you think it'd be very beneficial, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is, you said computer aided dispatch, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Don't ask me the fine details.
So when they get dispatched out to a call, you can actually get turn by turn direction and go right to it. Yesterday, we had a really bad accident, we had north,
Lifeline couldn't even find the location, it took them probably.
Yeah, that's not good.
Yeah, I could hear on the radio calling, well, we can't find you, where are you? When they were giving them GPS and latitude and longitude, they said, we can't use that, and they finally gave them mile by mile direction, they finally got there, but it was not a, you know,
I ended up on 66th Street.
yeah.
I was taking 3 and going over to 4, because I went off GPS coordination.
Mm.
And they
It
got
was
the-
on 3, just at the curves, right?
it was right at.
Right at the curves on 3, just south of 17,
Right.
is where the actual location was, but they were everywhere. And they couldn't get a good,
so they didn't have what 3 words?
Well, you did, but the cell phone coverage up there.
it's just, you couldn't get it through, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not very good up there.
Mm,
But that's just an example.
AT&T, yeah. They're gonna tell everything.
yeah.
Must have been on Verizon.
Well, FirstNet was supposed to fix that with our 99% coverage rate,
Yeah.
but that's 5 years old too.
They're on first.
Well, I will say there's, in talking at our county commissioners association meeting, it relates to our, down at the association of counties. There's gonna be a push at the legislative session as well to try to get retroactive funding for some of these siren costs. Because some counties jumped on board immediately and spent a bunch of money. And now they're talking, well, we're gonna hopefully get it funded going forward better than we have. And like Cass County's already, I think, Jack Peterson said 16 million deep.
Grand Forks is already in it.
Yeah, so they got on board out front, which was, they had to make each county had to make a decision, where the smaller counties like us kind of said, well, let's kind of slow play it, and see what happens. And that's gonna bite us probably, because radios are gonna get more expensive, but we didn't commit all the dollars up front. So it hasn't been a smooth.
Well, a lot of my decisions that were made because our portion of this build out, we were the third or fourth stage, so I mean, we were so many years out, so why dump in when everything's gonna be here, and you got all this infrastructure sitting here not being utilized until let's get it closer to for improvements or advancements.
Well,
Maybe the bugs get worked out,
Yeah,
that was some of that.
We had talked about that, hopefully the bugs will be worked out before we.
Hopefully.
Well, like Chris and I were talking about, you buy the radios too soon, they don't go on siren, they don't work right, and then you got warranty, and
Now we gotta buy another
you
radio.
gotta buy another radio because the warranty's gone, and yeah, it hasn't been a smooth build out, and I think we all know that, and it hasn't been a cheap build out, it's gonna continue to not be.
I think the association's gonna go hit the legislature to try to ask for more funding instead of just the $1,500 per radio deal, but whether or not they're
I don't know.
agreeable to that is anybody's guess, and whether or not they make it retroactive is, I feel bad for the counties that spend $16 million on radios, and everybody else gets a piece of the pie and they don't.
At the same time, the counties that don't have PSAPs didn't have to absorb that cost either, so we've had to absorb that cost because we have a PSAP, so.
I got a message back from Joe, the city did not, pay for it, they were still gonna consider, splitting it with the county, so that was the discussion, I think it probably needs to go forward.
Okay, well, yeah, I think it'd be beneficial that if we had, Chief Kanowski come in at our next meeting, explain exactly what we're looking at cost-wise going forward, then we can figure out what a good split would be.
I know at the meeting it was discussed that it would be broken out percentage-wise per agency utilizing it. Which is kind of the way we've been doing it the last several years of, okay, the city's the highest percentage, they get the biggest chunk, we get the next biggest chunk, and probably Benson is the third. And then it boils down to the smaller agencies have us, like Nelson County or the fire department or the ambulance or the ambulance our ambulance has a pretty good chunk too, but.
And there's
kind of the discussion we had was that it was gonna be percentages out, so each was kind of representative of their usage.
And there's different components that
each county can opt in or opt out of, I mean, for different services,
different
GPS
agencies
tracking
will
and.
utilize more or cost them more. And the one thing that I didn't like about Central Square is that if you stop your subscription or stop your annual fees, they take the data. You don't get to continue with the program and have that old data that's not being updated on a regular basis.
They got you.
They got you. And
Well, that's their carrot to make sure you keep.
right. And I don't know if that's with every software vendor that was making those proposals, but that's one of the things that stuck with me. If I stop paying my Microsoft Office subscription, I still can use Microsoft Word. I just don't get any updates. So, because I bought the software, but this is a different animal.
Like right to repair.
Right.
Do you really own the tractor if you can't work on it?
But it looks like a great program, and they've, been discussing this for, I think it's a couple of years now.
Oh, yes.
If not longer, and had several different proposals from different companies. And this one looks really good.
Sounds to me then like we hold steady for now until we can determine what additional costs we're gonna have coming at us with other things, and then we can kind of adjust accordingly then. Okay, sounds fair. Excuse me. Okay, next then, vehicle discussion, emergency manager, tax director that we pushed from the last meeting. We wanted to get fit up costs from Chris, just so we had an idea where we were going, and he had that in the packet, I believe, correct? And then kind of come up with a plan. So is this two different bids? No, okay. So the bid up is between, those are two options then, that you have there?
Well, it's only been one.
Okay, there's two different prices.
Updated.
Oh, updated price, okay. So that includes the whole field,
That is everything.
radios and the works?
Radio in the works.
So the fit up price on whatever we do is gonna be 26. Painful.
Actually, yeah. If you want-
And this is the same company that you, the sheriff's department uses, different?
Well, actually, they came in a little bit higher. So, you know, this is a company out of Minnesota. They did all of Benson County's work. A whole bunch. They do, that's what all they do.
Okay. What?
It's about to mine too.
They're about to do yours? Okay, so.
You like the pricing?
Well, I think we need to do something. He's out there with his own vehicle. That's not fair. When I look at the VSO travel, you know, if Beth gets a car, whatever, maybe VSO can use that car when he goes to Benson County or Nelson County. You know, if it's available. What would be wrong with that?
Wouldn't be, I wouldn't think.
But I do think we need to move on this. We need to,
Or it's something that we put off.
We have.
You know, at budget time. Hey, with that expectation that we were gonna use these funds that we had from the first ARPA dollars
correct.
towards those vehicles. And we asked the departments not to put them in their budget for next year. So if we not go ahead with it and have them put it in their budget, then it's gonna be 24 before they're.
Because it's gonna take probably a little while to get them.
Those ones that you got bid quotes on, are they still available? They gone?
As last I heard, those still are available. They have not hit the dealer lot yet. The two that I got from another dealership, one sold that day that we had last meeting. It's just what's available and coming in.
And Beth, you just had that one price quote, right? And
Yeah,
Yeah.
it doesn't have to, it was just.
Well, you're right. But
And that was basically just the only thing they had coming in kind of in that ballpark.
Like I said, I'm not in a rush.
Well, yeah, and you still have a vehicle, it's still functioning, it's,
Yeah.
it could be replaced, but we could even, since you have a vehicle, we could order something and get the baseline on it or whatever, maybe save some money.
No rush.
Okay. Thoughts?
I think we should go ahead and do it, and I'd go ahead and make that a motion.
I'll second it.
Okay, just on Chris's for now then?
No,
Well, I think we should do both.
do
Well,
do both.
Okay, so we wanna buy off the bid for the, tax office as well.
As a tax office and the emergency management. And whether the tax office be a general county vehicle,
Sure.
when available. I think that's, if that's okay with that. You know, I don't know. But, you know, that's a schedule that I don't wanna micromanage with her and, you know, but I think they both need the vehicles. It was something that was kind of taken out of their budgets for next year. And I think this is good, and I'll stick with my motion.
Okay, so then the motion would be to accept the low bids, there's only one bid here, but it's the only one you can get. And they're both from, we'll just say Devil's Lake Cars.
Devil's Lake Cars.
Okay, so the low bids from Devil's Lake Cars for a vehicle for the tax director as well as the emergency manager. Okay,
So Chris, how much is your vehicle gonna be in total? I'm not gonna lie, I don't have a problem with Chris getting a vehicle, but I do have a problem with it being used 24/7. This is my thing. He's on
That's
a,
his job.
he's on an 8-hour schedule, right?
No.
He can be called.
We pay him on an 8-hour schedule.
Well, he's salaried,
Yes.
so he's,
The issue I have with it is, do we not go through 911 dispatch? So when an emergency is called, they're not directly calling you, right?
Yes, they are.
Yes.
Yes, they are. Yes, we are.
From the dispatch?
Yes.
Yes.
I get paid the same way, but I have to respond 24/7 for my vehicle.
I think, I understand where you're coming from, Blaine, and making sure that we have liability coverage, all of those things, and to make sure it's not being misused, but I think those concerns can be addressed simply by adopting a policy that makes sure we have coverage and signing off on the department head, so that if we do have a problem where somebody's not using the vehicle correctly, whoever it is within our structure, we have something to hold them accountable. I think that's something the next commission can work on, a good policy that, just to make, I think it would be good to have a countywide policy anyway.
Well, and the vehicle's gonna be marked. No,
I just don't want it to become an issue, and I'm not saying that you're gonna do this, Chris. What I don't want it to become an issue is it becomes a personal use vehicle because I'm on call. You know what I'm saying? That's where I
But I
think,
think that was before problems. That was.
without a
Well, I don't
policy,
wanna go back there.
without a policy though, is what I'm saying, is we could create,
We have a policy, I'm reading it right now.
we could create the issue again, and I'm not saying Chris is gonna do that. But I just wanna cover the avenues before the public sees this $100,000 vehicle running around. You know what I'm saying?
It says right here, okay, this would be the
That's all.
applicable policy portion we're talking about, so. County-owned vehicles, which are allowed to be kept at the residence of county employees because of the nature of the employee's position with the county, so deemed by the commission essentially, cannot be used for personal purposes other than commuting to and from work. Personal use of all county-owned property, including facilities, equipment, tools, materials, and vehicles, is prohibited. In addition, no personal vehicles or property shall be serviced or stored in county-owned facilities. Use of employees' personal tools shall be at the owner's risk. Violations of county policies while using or operating county-owned equipment or vehicles, or the improper, careless, negligent, destructive, or unsafe use of operation or equipment of vehicles, as well as excessive or avoidable traffic and parking violations, can result in disciplinary action up to and including termination of employment. So if there's a concern, if there's a problem, I think that covers pretty much everything. That's actually pretty good policy. Where that, if it would be under the auspices essentially of that portfolio holder, if there's concerns, to bring it to the commission as a whole, the commission would discuss it, and then disciplinary action could be taken against any of our employees if that policy, if that vehicle is not being used properly and accordingly. I think that's pretty good teeth, actually, this is my mind.
And this is a policy that we had in effect prior.
Yes. This is, well, it's effective 2015, when we redid the handbook in 2015, we took this policy effective. Yes.
Prior issues that we had with this could have been taken care of.
Yes.
With the policy. And that's what
And I don't
I'm trying to cover you, Chris. I'm not saying that it's not needed. But if it comes back, is it gonna be on you or is it gonna be on us as a commission? You know what I'm saying? I just wanna be protected both ways. So that you're protected.
I hope you have enough faith in my ability that I'm not gonna do anything out of my job scope.
Right, and it's not me, it's gonna be the public eye, is what I'm
So
saying.
I know.
We're all in that eye.
I think Chris has taken that job in that position. In areas that we never expected. And, kudos to him for doing so. And to send him out on some of the adventures that he's required to go on in his own personal vehicle.
Well, that's not.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, so.
But then you take a look at all the vehicles that we saw at convention.
And
Yeah.
a lot of vehicles that had their county stickers, logos, emergency management, emergency services plastered all over them. And very nice, very professional looking vehicles all the way around. So Like I said, I'll stick by this motion and,
So the money for his vehicle is how much?
I can't remember the little bit, it was like
51.
51,063.
So the 70 was to cover all the additions to it, right?
Yeah, that was the upfit. That's the number I threw out there. I just threw that out there because I knew the upfit was gonna fluctuate so terribly, especially with radios.
So it might be a little bit more.
No, this is a quote they're gonna stick with. This is still good for 30 days. Well, for whatever, actually.
But your other stuff that you
Yeah,
gotta add on,
No, the vehicle's 50, and the other stuff is like 20. Is what
20,
he brought that
25.
up.
26.
26, so we're looking at about 76.
And that's with lock storage for the drones and all the tools and all the, right.
But all that equipment also is exchangeable between the next vehicle.
Can go back and forth.
Yeah, so if you buy another vehicle 5 years from now, it can be just put in.
Yeah, once you invest it, it'll be a change fee, but.
Yeah.
Was 51 for the vehicle? Is that kind of what we're thinking?
Yeah.
That's what he's got a quote for, right, Chris?
Is that 51
Yep.
and 53?
That
26. Equipment could go back and forth.
Yeah.
The equipment is a.
The 51 is it's a baseline Chevy Tahoe, so this is kind of size of the vehicle would be needed, which is, it's
Well,
about
to
as
give you
basic as you
perspective,
can
the
get.
Durangos that we're getting are 36. The last state bid, you can't get these to the state bid anymore because they were refusing bids for Durango or Tahoes or even Expeditions. But the Expeditions were right around that 48.
What can you get on the state bid then? What kind of bid?
You can't get them.
Can't
get anything.
No, the manufacturer.
Well, and that's why I brought it, Chris brought it to me and I brought it to the commission last meeting because it's almost a deal where instead of bidding it, we almost have to buy whatever
Is available.
our local dealers have coming, because otherwise we're gonna be waiting until 2024 to get a vehicle if we wanna do something.
You cannot get a state bid vehicle from a Tahoe or an Expedition right now.
And and for the emergency manager's purposes, we need something a little bit bigger, because you're gonna have storage for drones and all of those kind of things, so a Tahoe is kind of that right size, you know?
I think it was 2 years.
So it's basically whatever like cars that's coming in that's reasonable and at the right price.
2-year wait for ambulance, huh?
Let's get a handle on what we're gonna do with the other one then.
Okay.
What Beth do you have online? What vehicles do you look at?
That was that 2023 Acadia.
The Acadia fleet quote of one vehicle.
What was the money on that?
37.
36? 37?
Which is comparable to the size of the Durango.
Well, size is this out here?
Yeah, very
Yeah.
similar.
Basically just a little 4-door, 4-wheel drive SUV. It's kind of crazy, but that's what stuff costs now. I kept thinking we could wait for vehicle prices to go down, but that might be never,
Yeah.
or 10 years from now, or God knows what.
But the 37,000, you're looking at probably at least 10 years before you would change vehicles.
Yeah, within 1 miles that they're, it's gonna hold us for a long.
And are we thinking of taking it out of the COVID?
It would come out of the COVID funds, yes, which of right now we have a balance on those first COVID funds of just around 301,000.
Yeah.
So we've got money sitting there that we can.
Correct.
Okay, further discussion. So the motion would be to accept the low bid and the single bid we have for these 2 vehicles.
Yeah.
Okay, further discussion. Okay, hearing no more discussion, roll call please.
Brown,
Aye.
Volk,
Aye.
Brett,
I,
Deesek,
Aye.
Lightfoot.
Aye. Motion carries. Very good. The other thing then, we would have to probably have a motion to accept the low bid then for the fit up costs then, correct, as well? We're gonna. Or can we want, well, it's only a 30-day bid, so can we accept the bid pricing now? But we're not gonna have the vehicle for a while?
Yeah, he said as soon as both companies said, as soon as you get the okay, get stuff ordered right now, because they have to get the stuff in.
Oh, they have to order too then, okay. So we should probably have a motion to accept the fit up, low bid cost as well then, I suppose.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to accept the low bid cost for the fit up for the emergency manager's vehicle, and it's gonna be from Guardian Services.
Guardian Fleet.
Guardian Fleet Services. Okay. Okay, further discussion on that motion then? Hearing none, we'll roll call that as well. Oh, okay, fine. Candy's getting a hand cramp.
Okay. Chris?
I,
Lisa? Aye. Volk?
Aye.
Brown?
Aye.
Lightfoot?
Aye, motion carries. Very good. The other thing that Candy passed me a note here. Chris, can you explain needing a wording change on a motion?
Yeah. I don't remember the date, we couldn't find it, for the Lake Region UAS team. We're applying for a federal certificate of waiver. So it needs to be, at least in our documentation that we do, as Lake Region UAS team agency, fall under the Ramsey County Sheriff's Department. Just need verbiage on that so we can get some of the paperwork in place to go forward and file.
Sure.
And what this allows is, right now, there's no fly zones. Like, for example, around airports and certain areas, there is a absolute no, you can't. And basically, right now, College Drive is on this side. Yeah, it's a zero, you can't fly. This allows us to apply for that permit, whereas if we have an emergency situation, we can fly out there. We have the authority and we're following the FAA rules and.
It has to be under the governmental agency.
But it has to be under a governmental agency, which would be us, from my department. And that would allow us to fly. For example, we had a situation with the SWAT team in town here. We couldn't fly because we were in that no-fly zone. But it becomes a safety issue. So natural disaster, flooding, anything emergency response, hazardous material spill at the airport, whatever.
Well, that's the thing, there might be a point, maybe there's something that happens at the airport and you wanna fly it.
Well, we've done our mock accidents out there where we've actually, because it was in a mock accident, we were able to fly a drone and we use it to search for victims. I mean, it's just something as simple as that, where right now under this, we can't, because, without being in jeopardy of violating those. So this just allows us to be able to apply this on an official business only. We make sure that official our county business or, official business is what it only applies. But this allows us to fly under those rules and be able to have a little more effect.
and that's not just a violation of the rule, your drone doesn't take off, correct?
No, you can't fly,
Yeah.
you can't take it out, you can't even, no.
It's got software that detects that you're in a no-fly zone.
Really?
Yeah, you can't even fly in there legally.
Yeah, and so it
So
won't.
this would circumvent that for us. And it also, what do you say, 1 of 74 in the nation? And it kind of gives us a lot of opportunities to advance our team, because now we can expand our flight area to assist other places, which allows us into more federal funding and more down the road, once we get things up and running.
For what it's worth, the no-fly zone is College Drive from just about NDTC down to Acorn Ridge. So.
And then west.
So we're missing a huge chunk of our service area. We can't use that service now. And Chris and Dustin Dimler from the UAS team talked to me about it too. I think it's a good idea. I think we should go for it.
Well, it covers us. It covers us for using it for our purposes that we need.
Well, then also would it, by formally putting the UAS team under the sheriff's department, you would be covered by the sheriff's liability insurance, anything like that nature as well.
If it's on our call,
I think that's reasonable.
which is usually what it is anyway.
Yeah, it's whoever's requesting the service regardless, but. Okay, further questions? I guess then I would accept a motion.
We have all that in the motion?
I guess I don't have a motion.
We're gonna have it under the sheriff's office?
I guess the motion would be to place the UAS team under the sheriff's department
Purview or whatever you want,
purview, operations, whatever you'd like to call
So moved.
it. Okay, so we have a motion and a second to, have the UAS drone team, is this retroactive or as of today?
We have to apply for this, so we don't even have it yet, but we need this to apply for this. So this will allow us to apply for this permit, right?
Yeah.
We have to have this before we even apply, so that's kind of where we're at.
It's also worth noting, this is a one-time deal. You apply for it, you get it, you don't have to keep reapplying. So this is like, we can get the ball rolling and get through the gate by getting this designation. That's gonna help us big time.
I think Grand Forks, you said, applied for theirs in 2013.
Yeah.
The Grand Forks drone team, sheriff's office there. One time, they got it, they're good.
You got it now?
Yeah. Well, they've had it since 2013, but they've never had to renew or upgrade or they just have the
I was hoping
access.
you were gonna say it didn't take that long.
Not 9 years later.
They applied in 2013 and they've had it ever since. They've never had to touch it again. They've never had to apply for it. So it's a one-time, right, so it's a good deal.
All right,
Lighten it up in here.
further discussion on the motion. Hearing none, all in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Both same sign. Motion carries. Okay. Anything else?
Thank you.
Good, good. All right. All right, new business. Quick claim deed. We have Mr. Golden here. We can answer questions if we have any.
Yeah, I'm here to answer questions, I guess. I assume that the county auditor has filled you in, or if she hasn't, I'd be.
I think it was a simple typo.
Simple typo, I put in, the quick claim deed said lot 13, and it should have said lot 23. And the sharp eyes of the county auditor's office caught that, which is a good thing, because lot 13 is being a deed restricted. So, this is just a handy way to, correct the deed. The original deed was done by the city of Church's Ferry. The city of Church's Ferry is now dissolved, and the county commission has authority to kind of wrap up or wind up unfinished business of the city of Church's Ferry. So that's why we've asked the county commission to sign the correction deed.
Okay, that was
Second.
motion and a second to sign and the quick claim deed there, the chair saying. That was my only question, is like, I don't remember ever signing a quick claim deed in the first place. The city of Church's Ferry did at that point in time. But I was looking at it going, I don't remember doing all that. Okay, further discussion on the motion.
Yeah, I don't think I'll be doing that.
Okay, being that there's no further discussion, all in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Both same sign.
Thanks, Doug.
Motion carries. Thank you, Doug.
Thanks, Doug.
Okay. Appraised values, 2022, set hearing for October 18th, 2022 at 5:45 PM, and this would be on the foreclosure list, correct?
Yes. The ones highlighted in yellow are the ones that we have foreclosed on this year.
Yeah, so they're all, it appears to be. Bring it up.
I have to do, a few eviction notices.
Yeah. So that we might get them back. I mean, they might go off yet.
We just have to prove the
Fingers
motion.
crossed.
Yep.
Yep.
So move.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to set the appraised values on the foreclosure list and set the hearing for the 18th of October, 2022 at 5:45 PM. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carried. Lodging rate increase to 88.20 from 86.40 effective October 1st.
Move to approve.
Motion and a second. Further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carries. Homestead credits.
There was a correction on that one. There should only be one.
Okay, one homestead credit.
Sorry, last minute change.
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, a motion and a second to approve the homestead credit. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carries. Special permits.
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the special permit. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carries. We have a raffle permit.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the raffle permit.
Several seconds.
There should be a change in state law, so these things can just be approved with a signature by the auditor. It's
We
really,
should make that.
it's really quite,
Because we'll never do
Make
me.
that if you want to.
what, that does, the state has to change its century code.
Or is it?
I don't know, we should look, because
I'll check.
all of these are just perfunctory duties that the auditor should deal with.
Because we never deny any of them.
Yeah, I think in 8 years now, I think we've had one question on a homestead credit, it was just because they wrote something down wrong. Anyway, sorry, I digress. All right, all in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, 2023 budget. Discussion, final approval. I don't have the numbers in front of me. Wish I did, but I don't. Forgot to grab my second one. Unless, sign this, where is it? Okay, so, again, final budget, grand total of 14.6 million we're at right now. Of which it's 6 point something, 6.7 million, I can't remember the number, it's more than that, 7.6 million, like that, local. 108 mills, correct? 108.45, something like that. With that, I should have here. Anyway, we can, basically, we're looking at, without the valuation capture, about a $607,000 increase, I think is what it was looking at. Of which, pretty much all of it is incarceration costs. Or pertaining to incarceration costs. Ed made the good point at the hearing, that we should still thank the state though for all the work they've done on property tax buy down, because if we didn't have all the property tax buy down, we would be in really, really tough shape right now. The legislators at one of the breakout sessions were talking about it, they're budgeting I think it was $1.5 billion for property tax relief in this next session through common school or through the schools and social services buy down and all that, so. Those are all dollars that would go right out of the property tax bill, and in other states they do. So we're actually, I think they said we're 28th in the nation in property taxes, so we're actually not even on the high side, we're kind of right in the middle.
Just the value that they're trying to do with the schools go from 72% to 85%.
Yeah, it was an interesting session, it has to do with the budget though, and talking about, there's gonna be different ways to try to get some of those dollars on the excess back to the people, and one of them's gonna be the possibility of increasing school funding, one of them's gonna be income tax relief, there's gonna be all kinds of ideas out there on how to maybe get some property, or get some dollars back to the people, so it'll be an interesting session to see what happens. Yeah, so the proposed mill right now is at 108.69, which is 7.478 million. Which is kind of, it's got an increase, but it's, figure out the number, it actually isn't what it is because of the state increase and everything. So, like I said, basically the whole, we fit into the budget, the increase on wages to try to stay competitive as well. So, the only thing I was thinking is if we could, I don't know what everyone's been hearing from people, in terms of where we're at, if we'd like to move, try to find some trips and savings, or if we want to stay where we're at. Open to discussion. Or do we have any comments, I guess?
Rumbled, I've heard that the state's pretty concerned about the cost of incarceration in a lot of the major cities in North Dakota. About all of them. And they're all seeing a huge increase. And a lot of that cost goes to the counties within those 5 cities. They're the ones that are running the jails. And I get the real feel that they're gonna get something done in this next session. Or some relief from the cost of incarceration. So I really think this budget's all right. I think we've did well with it, you know.
Or as much
We talk about
inflation.
raising the cost of education from 72 to 85. It went from 34 to 70 once, and I was involved in that deal. And there was a rumble through the whole state about bringing that much money back to the locals from the state, you know, and it was a huge benefit. But I think there'll be some more this year too for school. You know, I wish they'd open up something, we talk about the school election just for a minute, but I wish they'd open up something for the local schools to go in and borrow money from the state on a bigger scale than what's there. Because the cost of buildings is just astronomical. I mean, it's only gonna go up, we know it. We're all seeing that. But I think this budget's fine, I really do, I think we should move it along. I think we did a good job the first time. There's little tweaks we can do, but I think we can cover that with our general.
Well, that's the thing, I mean, it'd be one thing if we had a bunch of additional money sitting in the general from previous years, but we're running our general pretty thin already, so to try to rob from the general, you know, rob from Peter to pay Paul basically is not a good situation. We wanna make sure we have some additional dollars sitting there, because the general's where we transfer out of when we run into those incarceration costs. So,
We
in
are
case we
getting,
do run over budget. which
we
is a
are getting a
possibility.
little bit more, I think, back on our state aid. So that's giving us a little bit more than expected.
Because it's coming monthly now
Yeah.
instead of.
So we can see, yeah.
And I really feel we're in jail in the direction it needs to be in, so. And we'll find out more this month when the DOC is up for an annual inspection, but I really feel it's going the right way.
We're at $2.2 million. Pierce County, part of America.
You haven't let me read that part yet.
3.1
Pierce County,
for the Heart of America Correction Center.
It's an
Oh.
unsustainable track, and I'm not trying to fault the state but at the end of the day, we talked about it at the Association of Counties for 8 years now since I've been there. We're using our prisons as mental health facilities.
Yep.
Well, then when is the state gonna step up? I mean, because we locally don't have the tools necessary to provide the services, because like I said, we could build a Taj Mahal for mental health treatment. How do we get people to come work here, and recruitment and all of those things? Because addiction treatment and mental health care is what's happening. It's not happening at all, but we're housing those people because they have no other place to go when they commit a crime, because they're addicts, and they're addicts because of mental health, and it's just a cyclical.
That's why,
Frustrating as all hell, basically.
that's why the county was directed by district courts to hire 2 more deputies for transportation of people to go for evaluation wherever they have to go. They were just run thin with the staff we have, and we hired 2 more there, and we hired another assistant state's attorney, another secretary, logically. I mean, Bo was doing a good job upstairs. It's just ongoing, but I really think we're gonna get some help from some state legislators this winter, I really do.
Hope we do, because then we can see the budget go the opposite.
Our whole steady,
If we get some help, it could happen,
yeah.
right?
Prairie dog money.
Or maybe people
That'll be
will
good.
quit doing crime.
fair one.
I won't be here for that, but I would say that I would hope that if we get help to pay for incarceration costs, that the state makes a push to help us, maybe even spend some of our local money to help with those mental health care and addiction treatment costs. So maybe we can break the cycle that we have. And I think we can't bear the burden completely locally, but we're gonna have to step up and do something. To at least try to get the ball rolling and say, hey, if we put some money in the kitty, would you help us out here? So we can maybe break that cycle. And I don't know how we're gonna get there, but we need some help. Because we can't take on that responsibility completely ourselves.
Right. This is off the subject a little bit, but some of that ARPA money maybe we should set aside for something just like Adam's talking about. So we have something to say, okay, we're gonna put this in of ARPA money, and, try to move forward with facilities that will address our needs.
We'll have to come up with a plan, because there's a timeline on it.
Yep.
So No,
That's 2024, isn't
right.
it?
That's way off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't even know if, I mean, the problem with anything like that is, like you said, building costs and trying to retrofit something is gonna cost so much, but if the county can even come up with some, say, hey, does the state come up with a grant program to help us outfit a facility, and then maybe we could kick in some dollars to help with mental health treatment or whatever, you know, on an ongoing basis, because if they would help with incarceration costs, and then, okay, you got some savings there, then you can roll over to mental health treatment, addiction treatment services, and then you can maybe start to see that incarceration cost come down over time, because you're helping fix the root cause versus just treating the symptom.
One more thing, I think the door has really opened up the communications with the legislators on this incarceration. It really has, I really think it's open somewhat.
Well, that they know, they see it.
No, every chance I get, I tell them.
Right.
Yeah.
They're gonna get sick of hearing from it.
I think every county is agreeing.
Yeah.
I think the thing that's gonna be interesting, and it's related to our budget, but everybody's budget, is that there's gonna be some interesting fights at the legislature coming up, in terms of, you know, if there's dollars tied to something like that, are there gonna be caps? Are there gonna be property valuation caps? Are there gonna be caps on mills? There's gonna be a lot of interesting conversation about how we move forward as a state and how we fund things. So, it's gonna make for an interesting 6 months or whatever.
And did they tell us that 25% of the legislative
Brandon,
revenue?
Brand new, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe that's good.
on top of, could be,
Could be.
on top of the fact that, you know, we talked about how do we fix the donut hole in PERS, and there's a lot of things that's gonna have to be worked on. You know, PERS is a mess.
Kinda ugly.
Yeah. Yeah, the legislators they're gonna have some pretty heavy lifting, so it's gonna be interesting.
It's always an interesting session, but this one's gonna be especially.
Yeah, new leadership on.
I'll make the motion, agree with the budget as is.
I'll second it.
All right, we have a motion then to accept the budget as previously presented at our hearing with no changes. Further discussion on that motion?
Everything was presented. Like, from preliminary recollection. any of this. No changes.
Okay, further discussion on that motion?
Any roll call?
No, no roll call. Okay, no further discussion, we will roll call that one, please.
Bolt,
Aye.
Brett,
I,
Eset,
Aye.
Brown,
Aye.
and Lightfoot.
Aye, motion carries, we have a budget for next year, very good. Okay. Lastly, not lastly, but lastly on new business, VSO travel, did you give a sheet just to me or to everyone?
I can get one for everyone.
Blaine was kind enough to talk with the veteran service officer since he brought up this concern at the last meeting, that was obviously, you know, was an oversight. And, Bryce put together these numbers just off of basically what his cost out of pocket is every year to go to the other counties. So if you look at the top number, as I can discern this, that's the state mileage rate. He's basically subtracting the cost of coming to the courthouse. So basically his out-of-pocket cost is about $50 a week. So $2,600 a year is what is coming out of his pocket right now to go out to Minnewacan and to go to Dakota to service those facilities. So the question I would have in this discussion, and just quickly thinking about it, is should we break those numbers down? Because he's got them broken down basically to go to each facility and talk to those, I mean, they can't budget for it necessarily now because their budget's to be set, but it's gonna be a very small dollar figure. And ask if they would be willing to then rework that contract to add in those costs so that he could be reimbursed. And if they say no, then I guess we'll have to deal with that.
And that is what I told Bruce, that I would bring it to our attention so that we can contact these other people. And if they won't, I do feel we still as our county.
so we're gonna pay him to drive to work?
No,
Are you not paying Chris to drive to work?
I,
What do you mean?
We're not
You have to
paying
drive
that.
to work?
Minnewacan and Dakota, but.
well, that's not Ramsey County's responsibility.
No.
Yeah, no, I agree.
No, that's why I'm saying we break this down and we talk to the Nelson County Commission or the Benson County Commission.
What do we put that on Candy's shoulders, let her talk to the officer?
Well, because there's a deal from Bryce's home to Devil's Lake here to the courthouse. We're gonna pay all our
No,
employees?
what he's doing, if you look at it, is he's subtracting the mileage, so he's saying, when I drive to the courthouse, that's on my dime.
Yes.
But, because he drives from home directly to Dakota or directly to Benson County, so he's saying, if I came to work in the morning with my vehicle and then turned around immediately and drove to Minnewacan,
Gotcha.
it would be like if I had a county vehicle, is what he's saying.
Not paying himself.
Yeah, so he's not paying himself to pay in, he's saying, if you provided me a county vehicle and I drove to the
It's
courthouse.
not gonna be a big item for your counties, but.
Yeah, no, I looked at it first too and said, just a minute now, but then I had to look at it again.
Yeah, it's like, what, huh?
Yeah, so basically he's saying if you came from the courthouse and went out, which is reasonable. Yeah, but I think we should break that down. Commissioner Volk has been kind enough to take the lead on it, so if you'd like to break it down in price, talk to those two counties and bring it back to us and then see what they're willing to do. The other thing I would say is that I think if we're gonna open up the contract to put that in there possibly, then maybe it's time for us to look at the percentages too for the veterans, because maybe that would incur us more cost, but I think that's the right thing to do if we're gonna open it up, because it's been 5+ years since we looked at it.
It's been a few years, yeah.
So please reach out to them, or we'll reach out to them and we'll see if they're willing to help out with that, and if not, then we'll have to deal with it accordingly, I guess. I mean, I don't wanna take it on as a county, but I don't think it's fair that we've looked over it this long and he's had to take it on, so.
So did he put this in his budget? Have we heard from him as a budget?
Yeah.
No.
Well, we have the budget, but.
Well,
Well, he
Same
hasn't
budget,
come
basically.
forth to us.
Yeah.
But he's never came in and
No.
talked to us about his budget.
And he didn't bring this forward, Blaine's the one that brought it forward and approached him about it. So he only put these numbers together after Blaine talked. It wasn't his intent to put this in the budget. So I don't know if he just felt like we wouldn't do anything about it or what, but I think it's, like I said, it's plain and simple, it's been an oversight on our behalf. We didn't even think about it at the time.
One way to look at it is he's a veteran and he's helping veterans, so.
Yeah.
He just.
I'm sure that's basically what it is. So.
But there is enough reimbursement kickback from the other two counties of what they pay to us for their percentages, so why don't
Covered with that.
we
Covered.
just,
Covered.
Will you let them know that we're doing that?
that's just one more thing for me to keep track of to Bill, so
Will you let them know that, Kathy?
I would just say that we'll just.
Go forward then.
We'll just.
How is this,
Oh,
how do we bill them? Just yearly, right?
No, we bill them quarterly.
Okay.
Like for, like they pay a percentage of his wages and.
Yeah.
And then we do it everything quarterly, but if he travels, if he, goes to different conventions and things like that, we bill that on a percentage basis too.
Well, so we'll just bill them on the percentage then.
We could.
Can we just give them a heads up and say that that's gonna be a portion of, you Blaine can just tell them that's what we're gonna do, and it's gonna be a portion of the bill they're gonna see quarterly, so it'll just be another line, and it's not gonna be that much, it's gonna be like a couple $100 a quarter. I mean, it's not unreasonable.
Yeah.
Per county, so. I think it's reasonable to approach them, tell them what the plan is, and then, and if they don't, whatever, how about this? Blaine, work with Candy, figure out what we need to do.
I would have to get numbers in. I'll do that.
Oh, yeah, we'll let Blaine take it with Candy, we'll figure it out. Okay, sounds good. All right, visitors and delegations, anybody need to speak? Becky's here, go ahead.
So the court facilities grant that has to be signed off in by December, looks like we're gonna be trying to apply for one this year, but we're still working on gathering up numbers. For court security and improvement, we're looking at keeping the side doors of the hallways more locked with a key fob so employees can go through them. But visitors must always use the elevator, go up and down to restrict access to keep it safer so nobody can go up and down and hide anywhere like that. And also making a change to the elevator where the elevator will be computer kind of operated where it can be locked during certain hours, so it only works during between 8 and 5 or 7:30 and 5:30 or whatever hours. But it can be overridden by our thoughts again, and it can be changed by the computer. If there's a meeting, for example, where it can be restricted access where it will go from the main floor to the basement. But it will not go up unless you have a key fob. So we're trying to keep people from roaming in the building if they decide to come in at night or lock themselves in at night or for some reason where they're restricted, and it'll make everything safer for everybody. So we're gathering up numbers to do this, and we're hoping to have them so I can make my 2 visits with you officially to present it and then have it approved if you wish to. So we're working on doing that,
Thank you.
Chris and I together.
Yeah. And these were things that came out of our meeting we had a couple weeks, last week, I don't even know how long ago it was a while ago.
I
Yeah,
just wasn't gonna get into all the details.
no, but simple changes, the key fob stuff on the door should be a simple change, it shouldn't cost too much, but.
I'm gonna work with the fire marshal and, we might have to put like they do at the hospital where there's just a brake button that'll open the doors if there's a fire.
And the elevator guy said it was into the fire system, or if the fire alarm goes off, the elevator will immediately come to the first floor and it will not move.
Well, that's probably should happen anyways, people can't use it when the fire happens, because you're not supposed to get
Right,
an
but I
elevator.
don't think it does that now,
I don't believe so.
but that would be part of the system as well, where stairways must be used, perhaps.
Yeah, so basically just trying to make the courthouse a safer place for people to work, and
Yeah, so that will be coming, hopefully if we can get all the numbers gathered up in a short amount of time.
very good, we appreciate you going through that and trying to get numbers for us, and hopefully we can get that funded, that'd be awesome. Okay, anybody else in these evaluations? Hearing, Sean, sorry.
Guardian Plan staying for 100 days. They're gonna give it a 100-day trial, and so far so good. We've got actually launched last night. So we'll continue with the auto wash. Sounds like we can continue with the auto wash to stay in the area. I do have a meeting tomorrow with a different agency and another one from another agency. In case this happens again, we might be able to get out of the service pretty quickly.
Part of the reason, this is not necessarily true, but say in War Road, they have fewer calls than we do, but they're staying in War Road because they have a lot of businesses who get their insurance for their employees and things like that. Because you can get insurance for Life Flight, where if you use Life Flight, you will not pay anything out of your pocket. So like the Dakota the fire department in Dakota is buying a policy for each one of their members and their household members. And so with an increase, if it was put out there that there is an insurance policy, people can get it. It's not an expensive policy. $80 for a year or for.
They got separate ways to buy it. 'Cause I
Yeah,
have
okay, there's
myself.
separate
You
levels.
can buy it by the year,
$80
by
for
the 3
family?
year.
Yeah.
For household.
For us,
Jeez,
for the
yeah.
Life Flight.
And
It's like
so if they
$385.
did increase in,
We have it.
people who are buying their insurance, that would encourage them to stay here longer as well. Because that would show them that there's a lot of interest as well. So even by putting that out there somehow, different organizations can get policies for their employees and their households. You know, it's gonna help keep them here longer, I think.
Absolutely.
I got a stack of those memberships, if anybody wants one, I'll bring them up here.
Yep.
I'm not trying to pedal one over the other, but we got a service here that I want to try to keep, so.
We've had a personal household policy for years with them. And we've used it three times in our family. So it's a very well policy, air flight.
Really?
You're way money ahead.
Yeah, we are.
Absolutely.
Chris, Sean, you guys wanna give an update on auto launch?
So the auto launch, we had, basically run yesterday, we saw some problems in it, that we're gonna fix today.
Okay.
It wasn't on our end, so that was a good thing. It wasn't on our dispatcher's end, so that's another thing that usually is blamed, but it's not this time. It wasn't their dispatch to blame either. It took a while for them to do the pre-check off list before they took off. But there was problems extricating when we would have had more. So we had to wait till, we got up with our extrication team from late before we could even get out. So the auto launch policy is going well. Actually, one of the things I'm going tomorrow to do is to teach other air ambulance services, how we are doing the auto wash with how to land them. This county, for example, not ours, but the other counties, they'll have fire will do the landing zone, police does the landing zone, ambulance does the landing zone. No, there's no one set structure. So now we'll have one set structure. Spirit Lake has put it on, they do it fantastically. So we put all the burden on the fire departments because they just, basically on a fire scene or a car accident, sit around, don't do anything anyway, so. We put all the burden on the fire department to do this. They're the ones with the best access, and the best ability to do the landing zones. EMS is, of course, busy at this point with most of the firemen, so it's also one firefighter to do this. So each department will have one firefighter designated to do it. We start the training here now. We're going from department to department to do the training. And I'm going like around the state, so it's going to be the same to the state. So we're trying to get the auto launch with the landing zones for the whole state to be exactly the same. What we had with ours, if we continue to auto launch, they'll get the numbers very easily. So they needed 225 flights a year. They were at 70 this year, but they're only at half because of their flights. Because they only had a pilot for half the time. So normally they have 140 calls. So that's the half. So if they have to get to 225, all we have to do is auto launch them that many times. So we only have to auto launch them 80 times, and that's going to happen. Because the auto launch is going to be something like a cardiac, like a heart attack. And I'll use that more again, this is far away, or Hamden, we'll say Hamden. If somebody's in Hamden, if they have a heart attack, they're going to fly up there. So any place that doesn't have quick access, everybody's having a stroke, they're going to fly them out. Any bad accidents, they're going to be flying off of that.
So with that, Sean, that takes a lot of pressure off of you guys, right? If they.
Absolutely, they can get up there and be gone before you can get up there.
Yeah.
So yesterday.
So in the long run, it's a savings also.
It's a saving of lives, and that's the huge thing.
And they're using a helicopter.
Yes.
And they're gonna be located here
They're located here.
at the airport or up the
At the
top?
hospital. So yesterday was a rare, if they would have launched when they were ready to, which we're looking to be about 7 to 10 minutes. The helicopter would have beat our service there, our ambulance, but as it was, they didn't, so we got there first. But they stayed on scene to help stabilize, so then we had an extra medic, an extra nurse to help stabilize the patient, and then they flew from scene.
From here?
From
scene.
From the site.
And that way they can go directly to an Altru or a Sanford or a Trinity, or
to a trauma
they,
center.
they can bypass the stop here and not be denied, correct?
Yeah.
Depending on the injury,
Well, and, once they're in flight, they can't be denied, where if they stop here and then it's an healthcare facility transfer, and that's where an Altru or a Sanford can deny you.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's like, we'll say, yesterday, if we would have got there and the guys, I'm fine, I got a little cut. We're gonna fix his boo-boo and go on the flight. The flight is gonna take off, come home, and it doesn't cost them anything. It's the same with us. But we're there to do a service, they're gonna be there to do a service. So if they land and said this doesn't need to be blown out,
Is there a membership people have to buy?
Right, yep.
you don't have to buy it, but it saves you a lot of money. So for that $85, you're gonna.
How are we gonna get this word out to the public?
I think the Guardian actually started working on that by putting a sign up and stuff, because I know that when I was in one of the sign places, they were actually working, putting one up.
Let's figure out a way to let the media
Well,
help us with this.
and we have to open up that line of communication with Guardian corporate headquarters, so that they don't come in and sell memberships to a service, then pull out that service the very next day.
Yeah.
You know, because we had people that were buying memberships last Wednesday, Thursday morning, everybody got notified that the helicopter was going bye-bye. Fortunately, they had a change of mind and change of heart and sticking around. And so we need to keep that line of communications open. So, hey, if they're seeing those type of issues, that we can maybe, hopefully, I don't know what we can do as a county or a city commission or local ambulance or what have you, but that's a service that's gonna be greatly utilized within our rural communities as more and more volunteers decide not to volunteer.
With that, so people understand, they weren't pulling out 100%. They were still gonna have a flight, it just wasn't gonna be a helicopter. But the helicopter for us is creating these remote places that you can't get there as fast. And we don't have the EMTs like we used to. So that's gonna be a huge benefit for the helicopter to stay. Just so people know that if they were to buy this, membership,
That's still a fixed wing.
there's still gonna be a fixed wing.
Fixed wing.
It's just, this is gonna help more.
No.
Yeah,
So basically,
ask for it though.
exactly, so that people don't get nervous and don't buy because they're gonna
No.
days. You know, I don't wanna presume that
Right.
we push it the wrong way,
How are we gonna get this word out?
you know.
Well, so we started it, so he started talking about the insurance, I kind of started to be just like, I like ants. Cause I was working with Kim, he's the manager up here right now.
Yeah.
And we went up to Hamden, we did a one-on-one talk to them, and so we plan on going to every community and talking to them, letting them know what we're doing at this auto launch thing. So we plan on going to all communities, presenting it. So we presented to Hamden and we were getting good feedback from that. And then all of a sudden they said we're leaving, so now we've been helping them sell memberships that we're gonna be null and void.
Right.
So, but we're gonna continue with that, so we'll be going from community to community with Guardian Flight, offering, an open house type of thing.
Yeah, that's what Jeff was saying, we gotta make sure that the head shed of Guardian knows that we're working with them. We're not trying to fight against them, we're trying to work with them.
And it's something
Need
that's,
anything on coffee time?
They make mention of it.
that's needed
Mention
that.
it.
Yeah, let's get the word out there.
Let
News to me,
people
I
listen
think,
to that. Oh, oh, coffee time.
Oh, yeah.
I said maybe Adam can go on coffee time or
Yeah.
maybe you can meet
Let's
him
get the word
there.
out. Let's get the word out. I
Yeah.
haven't heard nothing about it.
Yeah, well, they're kind of full on it, and it was a surprise to everybody.
All I heard is the plane left, 2 weeks ago or whatever, and there was nothing here.
Well, the helicopter was supposed to leave on set this Saturday. And
Oh.
on Friday night at 4:30, they called and said, we're staying for 9 days.
Really?
So we had already started all the policies of what they wanted us to do, and they didn't give us a chance to go with it. So we'll keep promoting it throughout, not just Ramsey County, but all the other counties as well. It affects a lot of counties. So we'll be doing a lot of traveling.
Let's keep them informed.
Okay, well, we appreciate all the hard work you guys are doing out there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Portfolios. Mr. Deesek.
Let me see here. I had a meeting with Dakota Prairie Community Action. They'll be looking for a new commissioner because I will be done in December 1st. And I didn't stick around for the whole thing because I kind of was excused because I'm not gonna be there. So I was like, okay, I'll go. But they did tell me that the new commissioner that goes on board, they can appoint anybody or their wife or their husband or whatever to be on that board. It doesn't matter. So that might be something to bring up to the new commissioner that goes on. Lake Region Heritage Center, we have a meeting on October 10th. Office wise, we've been busy. We had foreclosure, Candy's foreclosure, so those taxes have been coming in pretty well. Mobile Homes, gave them their final notice. They've been coming in. October 15th is deadline again. So everything's good.
All right, very good. Mr. Brown.
Yeah, the reveals are good. And like I said, we're gonna have an inspection next week. I think it's 11th or 12th from the DOC, so we're looking forward to that, and we expect to be in compliance with a number of more things, so we're gonna go good. That's it.
Okay, very good. Mr. Frith.
Yeah, I guess I don't, we heard from the tax office and 4-H extension was in here today, and airport is continuing with our plans for expansion and, spending all those ARPA dollars. I know we're down a firefighter, city hijacked one of our employees. He went to be a full-time fireman for the city of Devils Lake, but, so we'll have an application out for that individual. I think they're looking for some office support staff and updating, website, making it more user-friendly and being able to see flight times in real time kind of thing. So if you're scheduled for a flight, if there's a delay, you know about it. But those kind of things that drive people crazy. Websites are, hey, you know, if you don't keep them update 24/7, people will catch something. And but anyway, there's a company they're working with on that, and advertising and boarding numbers are, you know, getting back to pre-pandemic kind of levels. People are slow and reluctant. This end of this month will be probably a big month. UND hockey in Las Vegas is, the parking lot will be full for the weekend out there. A lot of people take advantage of flying right out of Devils Lake, free parking. Got a quick hop, transfer in, quick transfer in Denver and then off to Vegas, but parking lot will be full that weekend, and that's always good to see. So, and then Chamber's going good. They'll have and they're changing their name from annual meeting to a celebration of community and business at the Elks. I think that is, I think it's the 19th of October.
I think so.
But I'd have to double check. But hey, Ramsey County has chamber members. We'd certainly all be invited to that and have a little social and meet all our business partners with the community. That's about all I have.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Wolf.
Well, Bev put out her thing. Lisa pretty much told us about ARPA funds and basically the stock market, playing the stock market and the other stuff. Fair Board put all the stuff that we went over. Lake access, they did receive the grant for Ruger Park, so the pond should be starting digging this fall. The fishing pond stuff. And then other than that, as far as lake access, there was some concern on the swimming out at Lakewood. And they've been talking to attorneys on how we can get it to stop so that there's not accidental accidents out there. They had that one death and they're really concerned about that. That was a kind of a big topic, so they're working on that to see how do you control it, right? It's public access, but also don't want people to, so we have to call a guardian, you know. Other than that, that's all I have.
Okay, very good. From my perspective, I don't have a whole lot. Everything seems to be going okay. For Devils Lake, we meet next week. We push our meeting for next week. What, sign that?
Sorry, bad timing.
No, I was gonna say, is that something important that I'm supposed to know, or I was like, oh, somebody's giving me a check.
That's what I thought too.
We had a library board meeting yesterday. We got a grant to start a new collection from the state library board, which is awesome. We had a huge month in September. I suppose kids back to school, so the library's being utilized a ton. We have a 2-director situation right now, but Celeste is going to be retiring come Feb 1. So right about the time that Maddie comes back from maternity leave. So we approved the advertising for an assistant director position. We're hoping to do that, to have it out in December so that we can go through the process and have somebody there in that time frame. I don't know exactly what the time frame is, but it's working through that process. So everything seems to be going pretty well over there. I think what else I got? County Housing Authority is going pretty well. Vacancy rate has been down. getting things turned over a little bit quicker there, full staff, so that's good. I think that's about all I have.
I just have a light reminder, I'm gonna be out end of October, beginning of November. So if you need me, you're gonna have to try and track me down at home, that's a long ways away, but, baby Cummins is coming. That's right. Congratulations, Matt. Thank you. Excited for you and Maddie. So if you need me, just come give a holler and I'll try and get around as soon as I can. Just don't do it when he's sleeping. So.
Yep. All right, very good. Appreciate it. Exciting. 4-H lunch for all in the courthouse, is that today?
Yes,
Starts at 11:30 a.m.
yes, she forgot to mention.
Okay, so everybody
4-H.
go eat lunch for 4-H week. Awesome. Okay.
And where's it at?
And
Downstairs.
then downstairs.
I got the email to check and use the new dishwasher.
Yeah.
All right, announcements, anybody have announcements?
Ballots are going out.
Election's right around the corner, ballots are going on.
Pretty good.
Okay. And there, nothing else?
I have one thing. There were two quiet title actions that came up that I admitted service for the county. They, it's property the county owned like 150 years ago. I didn't think there was any need to contest or get involved, but just wanted you all to be aware that I signed off on those,
So we could have got some property back if we had contested that?
so. No, probably not, but,
Yeah, I say we don't need any more, just
I
let it
didn't
happen.
think it was worth our time to be pulled into a lawsuit over stuff like that, if we weren't gonna get anything out of it, so.
I agree completely. Okay, with that, we are adjourned.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks for coming, Lee.
Yeah.